Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Damage here, and this is my series of post-commentary videos regarding the 3v3 tournament that I recently participated. So I will say, I usually don't do post-commentary videos for a few reasons. For one thing, the matches or the replays in this game cannot be paused, and they go in a pretty fast pace to the point where it's hard for me to keep up with the commentary. Hence why I usually never make post commentary, and I never actually showed my voice either in live commentaries either, mostly because the matches tend to be drawn out, since there are some people who ran out the whole timer to pick out their moves, so it was hard for me to commentate over those dead periods of live commentaries. However, I felt that since I participated in a tournament this time, I felt that there was a lot of information for me to spiel out that can't be really condensed in 5,000 characters or less. So, with that in mind, I'll talk about the tournament. So, for this tournament, this 3v3 tournament, Barudo decided to basically host this as a quote-unquote regular 3v3 tournament, meaning that the only restrictions that are in place are only set by the game themselves. Now, normally, if you're familiar with Smogon, it's this competitive community of Pokemon players that would put in their own custom rules in order to make the game of Pokemon more competitive. These clauses include Sleep Clause, Evasion Clause, Booty Clause, the works. However, for this tournament, the host of the tournament decided to scrap all that and just play with what the game gives you. So, for this tournament, you're only restricted to one unique puppet of their style for each team, and you are restricted to having one unique item for every puppet in the team. So, with that in mind, you would expect this tournament to have a few degenerate strategies in place, of which I was more than happy to employ, because why the heck wouldn't I? In any case, I will talk about the first team that I had for the first match of this tournament, which included a bulky but speedy Siskoishi, running Mind Control, Flash Bullet, Field Protect, and Field Barrier, holding a retreat manual. We have a special attacking Power Ellen, holding the food rations, rocking Bound Drunkard, Magic Barrier, Brave Song, and Catastrophe. We are running a bulky Golden Hairpin Extra Sukasa with Max HP Max Attack with High Tone Crush, Killing Bite, Poison Arrow, and Changeling. Now this puppet I'll talk a little bit more deeply about. Actually, I'll talk about the team first. So, I will say, this team is revolved around an Assist Koshi and Power Ellen strategy, but I'll talk about that once we get into the game. Now, but I will say, Extra Sukasa is here for two reasons. For one, is to switch into any Sound and Warp type moves that the Double Illusion Core may be weak against. And two, Extra Sukasa was pretty okay against Power Murasa specifically. The reason why I decided to run Poison Arrow for it was so that I could hit Power Murasa that might try to revenge kill my shit. Next we have a bulky Silver Hairpin Extra Hina, rocking Poison Stream, Holy Flare, Shadow Bomb, and Changeling. This is just meant to cover the weaknesses that Extra Sukasa had. We are running a Fast Sash Extra Speed Junko, running Moonbow, Dark Speed, Mysterious Wave, and Thunder Force. This is mostly to be a little bit of speed control and a revenge killer. And lastly, we are running a extra Mayumi, an offensive one running Waves of Earth, Impulse, Gigantic, and First Aid. Now, extra Mayumi is here to basically round out some weaknesses that the team had. I noticed upon some theory crafting that I was pretty weak against the Wind Electric, such as Power Megamoo, Extra Aya, and I think I was also a little bit weak to Power Aya as well. And I also noticed that Power Kongata was a bit of a threat to this team, so I had my Yumi here for that. And I know that later on I replaced Extra Mayumi's Life Orb with an anti-water gem in order to take a waterfall drop from from Power Kongata. But this is the team. And now I will get into the first match. So this guy plays Pyre Aki. Now what I'm supposed to do here is give the opponent Prankster and let them hit me, or let them hit my Koishi so that she switches out into my Trace Power Ellen. That's gonna trace the Curiosity, and then the opponent immediately surrenders. So I will say this was not a disconnect. This guy decided to surrender because this guy had absolutely nothing for this strategy. So the idea of this strategy, or rather, if you missed it, this Ellen had Bout Drunkard, which is the spore of this game. The idea of this team is to give your opponent Prankster, let Ellen have Prankster, and then just rock with Prankster spores, and then just set up all over them while they sleep for eternity, which is pretty funny. This strategy is a bit susceptible to teams that have a Void type, which is why I had to speed Junko, and does have some Sound and Warp vulnerabilities, which is why I had Tsukasa and Hina in this team. But yeah, that's game 1. Very cool. Now, game 2, since this guy forfeited immediately after he saw the Prankster Power Ellen, I knew that this guy was pretty aware of what happened, hence why he surrendered, and I thus decided to pivot into a more honest strategy. And I believe, okay, I don't exactly remember what exact team that I brought, but but I will say, I remember this guy brought a lot more. He brought his own form of degeneracy, which included Defense Kokoro and also had some viable 3v3 puppets as well, such as Power Aya, Extra Hakachi, and so forth. Now, I'm gonna take a look at this replay and see to remind myself what team I got, because I immediately forgot what I brought here. I decided to not go with the sleep strategy again. I know that for sure. And so you see, okay, so he sees that he switches into Aya, takes a lot of damage. All right, it added Doremi. Okay, so what I brought here was a more standard 3v3 team, essentially. Rocking Defense Doremi and Extra Hina, which is a classic 3v3 core. This guy rocks Akasha. I switch into my Hina because this Akasha doesn't really do anything to Hina. Alright, and this was a Toxic Protect Akasha as well. So this thing isn't going to do much damage to this Hina anyways. And this guy's gonna go for Dark Sweets, try to do some damage. It does absolutely nothing, and since this guy's in the special mode, this Holy Flare is gonna one-shot it. Oh yeah, he also brought extra medicine too, to trap some shit. Okay, and looking at this match again, it seems that the medicine was choiced. So yeah, so as a response to him expecting me to bring that same degenerate strategy again or something along those lines, I decided to bring a more honest team, which I believe this was the team in question. Oh, oops. So as you can see here, I have max defense, defense Stormy, rocking the counter bit with Grace of Mana, Energy Absorb, Dragon Seed, and Changeling. Same extra Hina as before. Oh, this one's physically defensive. Okay, so in my other teams I had a specially defensive extra Lyrica, but this one has physical defense on it, running Ultra High Tone, Charge Thief, First Aid, and Decrescendo for the food rations. I have a Sash extra Yumiko to basically break stuff like the defense Stormy and extra Hina Core. I have a Power Marasa to revenge kill some stuff, and I have a extra Mayumi again because I believe in regards to this team again, Wind Electric types were a pain for this team. Were a pain for these five to deal with. A Speed Megamoo or an extra Aya would destroy this comp. Well, destroy this comp if the Lyrica's dead. So Mayumi was a good answer to those kinds of puppets. And yeah, that will be my winners round 1 for this tournament.